pre-auction? Everybody? Okay. So make sure you do. Phone them up and find out which properties can be bought pre-auction every single month. Why? Because somebody that's putting into auction, where do they go if that property doesn't sell?
Auction.
They're stuffed, aren't they? There is nowhere for them to go except down. Because what, do they put it back with an estate agent? So, but then somebody looks up and finds out how much it was on for auction, it didn't even sell. They have to sell. So councils and housing associations won't sell pre because they have to be seen to be fair to get to the room. And we bought bargains that we bought for 14 grand cheaper in the room than we were trying to buy pre, which was always quite nice. But we buy pre almost every single month. In fact, every single month in Bristol from one of the two main auctions, and then occasionally we go into the two minor auctions. You've got to get it exchanged before the auction. So human nature being what it is, I would love to have it exchanged a week in advance. Human nature being what it is, we are exchanging and skidding in there at 3:30 on the afternoon of the auction. Just natural human nature. But I love pre. I like bidding during, but I also very strongly like post. Post is you buy that night or you buy at 9 a.m. the following morning. So what's important here if you're buying at auction? You need to have a very strong solicitor. Because if you've got a crappily titled property, where are you going to dump it? The auction. If there's something wrong with the legals, where are you going to pop it? Into the auction. I mean, it's not my finest hour in the world, but we had a house and we didn't tell the investor there was another house in the garden because we didn't want to get their hopes up. But then we put planning permission on the second property, and our lawyers were not 100% sure about access. So were we going to spend our money building out that second house? No way! Like, they thought it would be okay, but they weren't 100% sure. And unless you're telling me legally you're 100% sure, I am not risking a lot of money. So what did we do? We cut off title and we sold it for 48 grand at auction. So you need to be, I mean, we were sat there going, but at the end of the day, as the person's lawyers, now, we think they could have untangled that legal problem, but we weren't prepared to take the time. We wanted the money back. So we made another 48 grand and popped it into auction. So you have to have the mobile number of your lawyer. Why? Because any house that is dodgy is going to change the legal pack on you within 10 minutes of the auction starting. And if you don't go, right, let me just read, because I've got no idea. I mean, I've got no idea what this says. Can I just read out what they've just changed, please? Is this okay? Is that fine? Okay, thank you very much. So your lawyer needs to be able to be talking to you at 7:30 at night. And needs to be able to be talking to you at 9:30 at night when a house didn't sell, you've been given first refusal, and they have to do the legal pack between 9:30 at night and 8:30 the following morning, because of course you've got the auctioneer's mobile number, haven't you? Okay? So you need a lawyer. Where are you going to find a great lawyer? This room? Who deals with great lawyers? Estate agents. So again, your 22-year-old spiky haired lad is again your expert, who is the auction house. They know who the great lawyers are. And so there we go. So briefly, do consider auctions, and do not tell me in your area that everything goes crazy. I'm in Bristol. Bristol has the second highest GDP apparently from London. Bristol feeds, just like London does, the rest of the country. Bristol's hugely wealthy. When I started this sourcing business, people said you will never be able to source in Bristol. And we buy from auction every single month. But the clues in the numbers. Do you remember when I said that Ash was almost frustrated with me once because I stuck my iPhone in his face while I was trying to buy 29 houses at auction? We didn't get 29 houses, but we assess 29. And we try and buy as many as we can, and then we get an adequate number. So I have never, apart from one time, which was a huge mistake, gone to auction to buy one house, because I'll be massively disappointed. I go to auction minimum to buy 4 houses. Why? Because first one goes, new, second one goes, new, third one goes, new, fourth one goes, yeah, we bought it. And we've seen ourselves this month alone at both auctions, don't worry, at both auctions, one house went twice for 1,000 quid over our asking price. Did we go up? No, because we're deal makers. Why? Because we know the next deal's coming along. So auction's an amazing place to be. Right, very briefly, and I'm not going to talk massively about joint ventures, but this is how we do JVs. Partners do the buying, partners own the property, we put a restriction on it, partners do the funding, so the partners put the deposit directly to the bank. Oh, to the buyer, sorry, to the seller. So is there any fraud? No. Does the partner own the property? Yes. Is the partner feeling pretty secure, even if it's their first joint venture with us? Yes, because they own the bricks and mortar. How are we secured? We put an RX1 on a restriction so they can't sell it from under our feet. Job done. We do all the work, they do all the funding, 50-50 split. Kind of simple, isn't it? Got to be aware of 13.3, and I have written a fundraising pack, and I actually talk you through the compliance that I believe, I can't legally advise you, is correct. I'm very comfortable with it being correct within my business. You must bore yourself silly reading the 28 pages of 13.3. Luckily, I mainly go to property events using the train, mainly because I would normally drive at 100 miles an hour, and I don't think that's particularly safe, although I'm driving home tonight. And so it means that I get to focus on stuff without the phones buzzing. So I have read 13.3 many times on the train, but you just need to be comfortable that you understand it. It's about protecting your partners and making sure they have the appetite to be strong investors, and I think is a very sensible thing, actually. Very briefly, on buy to sell, on anything, I want you to do this analysis, and we've got a very strong video on this one. Look at what's happening politically, look at what's happening economically, what's going to happen, do you think, in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Look what's happening socially. So on buy to sell, I'm going to ask you a question, just mull it over. Who is the decision maker? Come back to that in a moment. What about technological? Everybody looks for houses on the internet, so why are you not spending 200 quid on photographs and buying £1,000 worth of 8 quid cushions from Asda like we do? Legal and environmental doesn't really matter at this stage, but let's go back to the social segment. We're very strong on social segmentation. I saw your rates for rooms here. My highest room in Bristol is £850. I got 5 of those. I know. When I started 5 years ago, I bought my first HMO, I was charging £400 a room. I don't have anything at 400 quid a room. Nothing at all. Because I realised that the marketplace had moved on and I was behind the curve. So in the most lovely way, I would not challenge your data, because I'm sure your data is correct, but I would challenge the assumption that you want to get the average room. I want you at the top 25% quartile. That's where you make your money. Bottom 25%, top 25%. I want you at the top 25% quartile of renting. I want you charging 695, 725, 750, 795, 825, 850. And do I have any voids? No. And every time Vix gets someone giving notice, she's like, I think I'll just put the rent up. She just tries it. Because you know what? The internet, you can move the rent up, not down. It's 2-second change. So, socially, be comfortable that if you're working with working professionals and you're putting in en suites and it looks beautiful in those photographs that you've only spent 200 quid on, you can get ridiculous rents because you're providing a high quality accommodation service, and against the rest of your class, your landlords, you're probably outrunning. So the joke is, how do I outrun the bear? I don't. I just outrun the person beside me. And if you want to have a look at what your colleagues in our landlording industry are so good at doing, it's advertising stripy bear mattresses. So if you are better than an advertising of stripy mattresses, you're probably able to charge a lot, because there are so few people doing this that you can charge a major premium for that luxury feel. And generation rent, I used to drive a banger until recently. Generation rent will spend £2,500 on bikes that they then put inside your property because they're too expensive to put outside. They have Audis, they have Porsches. My tenants until recently had very nicer cars than mine, pardon my English. They will spend money on coffee every day. Their computers are 2 and 3 times the expense of mine. I'm sat with the asset. They're a different breed and they buy experiences. It's partly because of the internet and that whole flow of information. So they are buying experiences. So give them the experience and ask them to pay for the benefit of it. And that's what I do, which is why my top rent is £850. But coming back to buy, so think about your segmentation and do not assume you need to be average. All you have to do is spend 200 quid on a photographer, fluff some cushions. Do you know what, guys, and I'm talking to the men here, go into IKEA, photograph the room set, and then like a robot, and I'm not taking the mickey out of you at all, because they have people with PhDs and masters who do this, I want you to write the list down of everything in that photograph, and then I want you to, like a Dalek, I want you to go to the aisle and the number and pick it and go, thank you very much, and then I want you to get into your lettings room and I want you to bring that photograph back out and I want you to position it exactly how that person with the PhD in IKEA did it for you. Thank you very much. 250 quid. It's paid in 1 month. They don't get to keep it. It's been bagged up and it's straight into the next photo shoot. And do you think that all 5 of my rooms and every one of my HMOs got the cushions? No. Tiffany is working 30 seconds ahead of the photographer. We dress 2 rooms, obviously we keep the furniture, and then we hike. You know, he's photographing that room, she's doing this room. He's photographing that room, she's doing this room. He's photographing, do you see what I mean? You don't need to spend, sorry about that, kicked you, 5 rooms worth of stuff. But just do it professionally and you will so benefit from the difference. It will be tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of pounds worth of rent every year. Now, just before we close up and to the next one, because I'm good at my timekeeping, aren't I? We love you, Zero, get off stage. I just want to ask a key question here. Who is the key decision maker for buying the house? A lady. Is that unanimous?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So why are you retailing sheds? Why are you selling white walls, beige carpet, bare light bulb, no curtains?
Different people, different tastes.
Oh really? There's no taste in that. It's a lady. So I can say this because I'm a girl, and hopefully my girls will be okay with me saying this in the room. Do I go and buy my shoes from a warehouse with a box? Or do I buy it from beautiful pictures that show me the lifestyle that I would like to accelerate or accumulate or whatever the heck it is?